Hello, everyone, and welcome to Happy Jack's Game Days. My name is Mike. My pronouns are he, him, and I will be the GM for a session of Trophy Gold. The adventure we're playing is my conversion of an OSR adventure called The Bruja, the Beast, and the Barrow. Trophy Gold is a game by Jesse Ross and is published by Hedgemaze Press and Gauntlet Publishing. The Bruja, the Beast, and the Barrow is published by Gus L. and is published by Rat King Productions. The adventure is part of the Crystal Frontier series of OSR adventures, which I'm a very big fan of. So I've been a member of Happy Jacks for about a year. I came in through the back door. The Kimmy was interacting with me on a couple of other Discords and invited me to join. So I had not actually encountered Happy Jacks before then. And hey, y'all make a podcast, which is pretty cool. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games for quite a long time. I started back in the 80s, cut my teeth on the basic edition of D&D, played a lot of D&D in the 80s, played a lot of GURPS in the 90s, played a lot of D&D 3rd edition in the aughts, then went to Pathfinder until I felt like my Pathfinder game was starting to get buried under the weight of its own rules. And I did a hard shift into story gaming primarily in like 2015-ish, and I've been mostly playing story games and narrative focus games since then. This is the first Happy Jacks Games Days. So this is I'm really looking forward to this thing. I've been playing online games with various communities, including the Gauntlet, Magpie Games, and Gehenna Gaming for the past few years. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's go around the table and and introduce ourselves. Let's go clockwise as I have you on my screen here. Madeline, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Madeline or Risky. I have been gaming for a while, but I started LARPing in like 2008 and sort of didn't get into tabletop gaming until a little while ago. So I'm having fun exploring all the different kinds of tabletop games that are out there.
Cool, welcome aboard. Looking forward to this. Tom, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Tom. Usually you'll see me by the screen name Stinky Fool. I started tabletop role-playing games in the early 90s. I think that the dates get a little blurry for me going back that far, but with D&D, a lot of AD&D 2nd edition, then World of Darkness Champions, a little bit of MERP in there. Then took a long break. Kids started showing up and made things slow down a bit. And probably for a little less than 10 years now, I've been kind of slowly getting back into the hobby, more with play-by-post just because that fits my schedule more. But try to see there's a lot of different things out there. But yeah, I'm really excited to try Trophy. This is one I've had my eye on for a long time. So missed the Kickstarter, but I'm glad to get a chance to play it today.
Awesome, glad to have you. Matthew, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Matthew. So I've been doing the tabletop RPG since say about 2000, pretty much when 3rd edition D&D came out, and did a lot of D&D, so much D&D. But I think 2011 I ended up playing played a quick demo game of Apocalypse World that was humble brag. Vincent Baker ran for me, so and that kind of just broke my brain open and sent me down the wonderful world of games that aren't D&D, which turns out there are a couple. Since then I've been, I've really never stopped gaming. It's a big part of my life. I design games now. I do art. I have an itch page, Coffee All Night, where I've got a couple of small free games and a system agnostic one-page dungeon with some VTT assets. Everything on there is free for right now, and I'm working on some bigger projects that I'm play testing at the moment. But I think that about does it for me. Excited to be here.
That's awesome. Glad to have you. And Erik, would you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Erik. I think I've been gaming since like around 1990 or something. It was all sort of things like Call of Cthulhu and GURPS and that kind of stuff. I kind of bounced off of D&D as a kid. And yeah, but I'm pretty new to story games, probably like the last few years, but that's I feel like it's hard to imagine going back. But and right now I'm very I'm playing a lot of Forged in the Dark stuff, and so Trophy sort of really appeals to me because it's got some great different sort of ways of using those kind of core ideas. So yeah, I'm excited.
Well, well, I am really excited to have you all here and to and to be playing this game with you. Okay, let me give just the brief elevator pitch of this game. So Trophy Gold is a collaborative story game. The core game is about desperate treasure hunters who are seeking riches in lost and forgotten places in the world. It's designed for ongoing campaign play. Now this is a one shot, so we'll probably not see some of the more campaigny stuff. But this is this is a short adventure that's designed to give folks a taste of what this game is like. So it is very collaborative in nature. It wears its story game heritage like right on its sleeve. We'll be constantly hopping in and out of describing the world from being in character to hopping into the narrative or the fiction or the meta, depending on what you want to call it. And I'll be talking to you as players to make decisions as to like what direction the story is going to go into. And a lot of that is mechanized through how the roles are structured and some of the other parts of the game. And we'll go over that when I talk briefly about the rules. There's a little exercise that I've learned from the Gauntlet called CATS. CATS stands for Concept, Aim, Tone, and Subject Matter. And it's just a way to give a quick elevator pitch of the game just to make sure that we are all here to play the same game. So the concept of Trophy Gold is, as I just said, the concept of this adventure is you are in a weird magical desert called the Crystal Frontier, hence the crystals in the background here. One of you, we'll just figure it out. One of you is infected with a poison that's called crystal tomb poisoning, which is basically if you're exposed to the dust of certain kinds of crystals, they take root in your body and start doing bad things to you. It's not going to have there's curing it is difficult. So the backstory is you will have gone to a sorcerer who is rumored to know how to cure crystal tomb poisoning. So that's going to be the plot, is that you're going to go to this wizard and he's going to give you a quest. So that's a concept of this game. It's going to be a dungeon crawl. The tone of this game, I usually try to keep Trophy Gold like on the serious side. There's going to be some light humor elements. This is not a horror game, but there may be some serious themes. I'd ideally like to keep this on the serious side. So if we can, avoid making lots of Monty Python jokes and something like that, I'd kind of appreciate that. The aim of this adventure is both to tell an interesting short story about our desperate treasure hunters and their attempts to explore this little dungeon, and also to give you all a taste of what Trophy Gold is like. So we're hopefully going to get to expose you to most of the game. We're probably not going to get into the real into the downtime rules, just because I don't think we're going to have time. But the actual exploration, I'm really looking forward to. I think that's going to be fun. Subject matter. So this game does deal with, so this particular adventure does have a few things that maybe, so I'm just going to say there's a, this game has an animal sacrifice. This game has blood rites. You're going to be exploring a tomb and possibly raiding a tomb. There may be some undead. Yeah, that's those I think are the content warnings. So that's concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. Any questions before we move on? Cool. Let's take a few minutes to talk about safety. So when we get together to play, a role-playing game, we are, I mean, there's always that separation between us as a people, us as a person, and this character we're playing. But there's a certain amount of like actual physiology here where your brain can't always like make that separation. So sometimes sometimes the emotions of the game will bleed into your actual emotions. The reverse can also happen. In addition, everyone has a different set of life experiences. We're a bunch of strangers that are getting together to play a game on the internet, and the purpose of this little activity is to have fun. Safety tools allow us to focus on the fun and hopefully will give us some ways to avoid tripping over each other's like life experiences that we may not want to deal with while we're playing a game with strangers. Because each of us individually is more important than this game we're playing. So we're going to be taking a layered approach to safety. I'm going to be using 3 safety tools. The first and most basic is called Open Door. Open Door means we are all free to come and go from this game as we please. If anyone needs to take a break, anyone can call a break. If anyone needs to step out to deal with life, or to collect your thoughts, or if your dog jumped on the table and knocked over a vase and you need to clean it up, yeah, I mean, life happens. Anyone can leave the game at any time for any reason. Additionally, if we get into the game and we're 45 or an hour into it and you decide, you know what, this is not the game I thought I was signing up for and I am not having fun, you are 100% empowered to say, hey folks, this game ain't for me. I'm gonna peace out of this game. Hopefully we'll play something again in the future, and our reaction would be, cool, sorry this wasn't to your liking, hopefully we'll play something more to your liking at some point in the future. So that's Open Door in a nutshell. Anyone have any questions? The second tool we're going to be using is called is a proactive tool. It's called Lines and Veils. Lines and Veils was developed by Ron Edwards for his Sorcerer game back in the Forge era, I think, like in the mid-aughts. Lines and Veils allows us to look at particular subject matters and say that, well, I don't want to deal with this, to let us know that we either don't want to deal with this subject matter at all, or we want to put some very hard bounds around how we're going to deal with this subject. So do folks have the trophy? Do folks have the character keeper for this game? It was linked. If not, I can pop it into the Zoom chat. Everyone's cool? Okay, cool. So on the character keeper, if you could pop over to the safety tab. I did post this earlier, so I wanted to make sure and gave everyone an opportunity to like put some check marks and whether things wanted to be lined or veiled or ask first. So if something is lined, a line means it will not happen in the game. I won't introduce that. I won't introduce that. You won't introduce that. We'll just like this. This is a subject. It's just not going to happen. If I'm running this from a prepared adventure, I will do my best to like write around that, so that we're not going to encounter that. If a subject is veiled, a veil means we can acknowledge that this happens in the game, in the world. We may see signs that this sort of thing has happened. We may hear reports that this thing has happened, but it is not going to happen on camera, and it is not going to happen to the player characters. There's a third category that some people that wasn't part of the original Lines and Veils, but has been added, and I find it very useful, called Ask First. And Ask First subject means this is a subject that you may be okay with under some circumstances and not okay with it under others. So before we introduce that kind of element, we're gonna pause, step out of game, and have a brief discussion to see if it's okay to introduce that particular subject matter here. So on the character sheet, we've got a list of subjects that are often lined and veiled. There's also some blank lines if anyone wanted to add them. I'm going to pause the recording right now, so if anyone has any questions, and then so we can talk about that off camera, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back. We've got a set of lines and veils. One final thing that I'm going to mention, this isn't exactly a safety thing, but it could, but unfortunately it has happened in the past. If in the unlikely event that something happens to me, like I lose electricity or I lose internet, or a cabinet pulls out of my wall and crashes all over the kitchen. Yes, that happened. And I, look, and I either disappear or my screen freezes, or I look concernedly to my left and take off my headphones and walk off screen, and I'm not back for 10 minutes. Assume that something has happened to me and take the rest of your morning, afternoon, whatever time of day it is. Take the rest of it back. I'll do my best to circle back to you as soon as possible. I wish I could say that's never happened to me, but it doesn't happen very often, but every once in a while. This is kind of like, when you're in college and your prof doesn't show up for the first 15 minutes of class, you assume this class is over. If something happens to me and I'm gone for 10 minutes, I'll do my best to contact you as soon as I can, but just, life happens sometimes. Any questions before we move on? Okay, Trophy Gold. So Trophy Gold is a collaborative story game, as I mentioned. It's the original concept was a hack of the story game Cthulhu Dark, kind of merged with a lot of the game tech from Forged in the Dark games. So I'd say Trophy Dark. I'm sorry, I'd say the Trophy family of games is it's probably about it's definitely it's Cthulhu Dark with Forged in the Dark kind of blended together. It uses the Forged in the Dark like 3-tiered of dice mechanics where you assemble a dice. It's also got some other story game stuff in here, so it's very much its own game, but you can definitely see the Forged in the Dark technology and also the Cthulhu Dark technology. In this game, you're going to be playing desperate treasure hunters who are looking for treasure in lost and forgotten places. And we're going to be doing that. So this game uses a bunch of different dice mechanics. The two that I want to bring to the fore, because that will, so some of the mechanics that I want to talk about before we actually start doing character creation are, you have a your characters have a ruin score. Your ruin indicates how much hold the dark forces of the world have over you. It's a combination of physical hit points and also just physical hit points and also your mental fortitude and how is your soul doing. Everyone's ruin starts at 1, and at 6 ruin your character is lost, so you don't have a lot of quote hit points in this game. Your ruin is actually your only stat. And that's the only thing that will occasionally be comparing against. As over the course of your game, your ruin is probably going up. There are ways to lower it, but generally, once your ruin starts to go up, it tends to stay there. I am mentioning ruin because one of the things that you can choose at character design option is whether or not your character knows what are called rituals. Rituals are magic spells. Knowing magic does bad things to your soul. So the more magic you know, the higher your starting ruin is. And again, once you get to 6 ruin, that's the end of your character story. Okay. So that's ruin. The two primary roles that we'll be making in Trophy Gold, there is a role called the Hunt roll, And that's when so a hunt roll is kind of a combination, like a perception check, search checks, and and wandering monster encounters, kind of all rolled into one mechanic. So with a hunt roll is when you are exploring the world, poking around, and asking questions about the world. I will ask you to make a hunt roll. And the way that works is, this game only uses 6-sided dice. Also, Trophy uses 6-sided dice of 2 different colors, called light and dark. So when you make a hunt roll, I'll ask, you'll be assembling a pool of 1 or 2 dice. You take 1 die for just asking questions about the world, and you can use a second die if you have a skill or a piece of equipment in your inventory that can help you out with your exploration. You then roll the dice, and we're going to look at the highest individual die that you roll on the hunt roll. If the highest die you roll is a 1, that's bad. You lose all of the hunt tokens that you have accumulated, and you encounter something terrible. If the high die is a 2 or a 3, you encounter something terrible. If the high die you roll is a 4 or a 5, you gain a hunt token and encounter something terrible. And if the high die is a 6, you gain a hunt token. Hunt tokens aren't a perception check. If you're looking for something in a place and the adventure says that there's something to find there, you're going to find it. The question is, what else do you find? I'll talk a little bit about what hunt tokens are. Hunt tokens are a meta currency in the game. At any time, you can exchange a hunt token you can declare that I found a piece of treasure, and you can exchange a hunt token for a piece of treasure worth 1 gold. As a group, you can also pool your hunt tokens. You can trade in a total of 3 hunt tokens to solve the set goal. And I'll talk a little bit about that right now. So a trophy gold incursion, that's a scenario or adventure, is divided into what are called sets. Those are like groups of like encounter areas, monsters, things to see, things to do that are grouped by a theme. And every set has what's called a set goal. And that's what you're basically trying to do in this area. Sometimes, it could be something like, find the lost treasures of the blind king could be the set goal in a particular set. In which case, pulling your tokens means we're just going to hand wave the rest of this set, and we're just going to go straight narrative, and I'll tell you what you find. Other set goals may be something like, some sets may be transitory in that the set goal is to open the magic portal into the rest of the dungeon. In which case, that's what you're trying to do. All sets can be solved by just traditional, like OSR-ish exploration of the adventure. So you can't always do it by just doing the traditional dungeon crawl thing. Exchanging hunt tokens like short circuits that process and just brings you right to the end. That can be good because when you do that, you're not exposing yourself to the dangers of the sets. The downside is that when you short circuit and go right there, you're probably not going to find any additional treasures or other interesting things. So usually I find that people start trading in hunt tokens toward the end of an incursion, once people's ruin scores are starting to get up. Because if you're tired of fighting monsters, we just want to get to the good stuff. There is a combat system in this game. We'll get to it. I'll go over it. I think it's really, really cool, and we'll go over that once we actually encounter some monsters. The risk roll. The risk roll is the other most important roll in this game. Whenever you do something risky, anytime you take a chance to do something for which failure has consequence, I will call for a risk roll. So in a risk roll, we're going to be assembling a small pool of dice. You're going to roll the dice, and we're going to look at the highest single die that you get, kind of like the hunt roll. If the highest number is a 6, you succeed. If the high number is a 4 or a 5, you succeed at cost. And if the highest number is a 1, 2, or 3, well, something else is going to happen. You know, looking at, I mean, this is the Forged in the Dark die mechanic. So if you've played that, it's also, if you've played Powered by the Apocalypse, it's pretty much like, it's the same 3 tiers. 10, so 6 is a full success, a 4 to 5 is a partial success, and a 1, 2, or a 3 high die is, it could be failure, it could be success at great cost, it could be something else entirely. We'll figure that out in the narrative. The way we do a risk roll is, before you assemble your dice pool, you tell us what you're trying to accomplish, and then I will ask what you are afraid of. I will then ask you what could possibly go wrong. And that's generally open to the whole table. Anyone else can pose like, well, this is something that could go wrong. So basically, that means we're going to set the stakes before we roll any dice. And then you have a choice there whether you want to accept these stakes and proceed with roll or back down. So that's a choice you make as a player. So you get 1 light die if you have an appropriate skill or piece of equipment that's going to help you accomplish your goal. You get a 2nd light die if you are willing to accept a devil's bargain. And if you've played Forged in the Dark games, it's the devil's bargain mechanic from Blades in the Dark. A devil's bargain is, and again, I'll open that up. I'll generally make you an offer, and I'll either open it up to the full table, or I might ask 1 or 2 players to offer. A devil's bargain is a new element in the fiction that's going to happen regardless of how the die roll goes. So and you generally phrase that, no matter what, ... this is going to happen. So this is kind of a mundane example, but let's say you're doing a risk roll where you want to like jump over a 10-foot chasm. Okay, that's clearly something risky for which failure has consequence. So I would call for a risk roll there. So I'd first ask if you had any, I'd ask. So first I would ask if you had an appropriate skill or a piece of equipment that would help you jump across this cavern. And like let's say that you have the athletics skill, in which case, okay, take a light die for that. Devil's bargain. Oh, and again, before we would roll, we'd also set the stakes. Well, success means I get across. Failure means, well, it's pretty clear you're going to fall in. Pretty clear that failure means you're going to like fall into this 30-foot chasm. So once we've set stakes, so again, you'd get 1 light die if you had a skill or piece of equipment. A devil's bargain needs to be true regardless of regardless of the success or regardless of the dice outcome. So for example, a good devil's bargain could be something like, no matter what, I lose my sword down. I drop my sword. So no matter what happens, you're going to lose your sword's going to end at the bottom of the cavern or the bottom of that chasm. Yeah, I can talk. Another possibility could be something like, no matter what, on the other side of the chasm, we're going to encounter a monster, or we're going to encounter this NPC from my past. That's another potential devil's bargain, or something else entirely. What would not be a good devil's bargain is, well, I get across, but I jump across, but I'm like hanging from the edge. That's not a good devil's bargain because that hinges on the success or failure of the die roll. We could conceivably, like, for example, I mean, that might be a situation where if you get a partial success. So with a partial success, generally that means is the GM's going to introduce a new like interesting element, and you tell us how you succeed. Or actually, let me just read the rules. Let me just read the rules. It's on the reference sheet just to make sure I've got this right. Yeah, so on a partial success, you succeed, but there's a complication. I will describe the complication, and you describe how you succeed, or I could tell you how to, or I could ask you what the complication is. So that could happen. I don't usually do that, but we'll see. The other thing you can do in a risk roll is introduce what's called introduce dark die. Now, dark dice, so when you introduce a dark die into a risk roll, you're going to be running the chance that your ruin may increase. You can choose to add a dark die, and its results count the same as any other dice. So again, so that's adding more dice to your dice pool, so that increases your odds of success. However, whenever you add a dark die to a risk roll, if we're going to look at if the highest die that comes up in a risk roll is on a dark die, we're going to look at the number on the dark die and compare that against your current ruin score. And if the number is higher than your current ruin score, your ruin increases by 1. I will then ask how the forces of I'll ask how the forces of darkness are like clawing more at your soul, or if this is a physical thing. I'll ask you like to describe what it looks like when your ruin increases. I will usually, although not always, also assess a condition. A condition has no mechanical weight. Conditions don't have a mechanical weight, but they do have narrative weight. So, for example, if you got the condition sprained ankle, this is kind of a mundane one, doesn't really have any mechanical effect. But if you've got a sprained ankle, you might not be able to do things you would normally be able to do. Or doing something you would normally be able to do without a roll, I might call for a risk roll. Like if you've got a sprained ankle and you wanted to run quickly across an open field, normally, okay, fine, you're across the open field. However, if you've got a sprained ankle and you want to get quickly, I might call for a risk roll for that. I just threw a lot of rules at you. Those are the two that are going to come up more often. It'll probably make more sense in play, but that's the risk roll and the hunt roll, and those are the two that we're going to be using definitely the most. Any questions on that?
I actually have a question about the ruin. I might have missed it. My dog was going nuts for a minute.
No problem.
Is there a way to reduce your ruin score?
Yes, but they're kind of few and far between.
Okay.
Now, Trophy Dark has a mechanic called a reduction roll, which is taken straight from Cthulhu Dark, where you can do things. You can basically, betray your friends to lower your ruin. Gold does not have the reduction roll. There are pieces of equipment, like for example, you could conceivably find like a potion of healing, and if you drink a potion of healing, that will your choice heal one ruin or clear a condition or clear a physical condition. Those are kind of rare, but they show up from time to time. There are no healing spells. That's one thing I do want to mention. So in Trophy Gold, the cleric cannot cast Cure Light Wounds.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Other things that can heal ruin is return. You can generally, if you return to town, you generally heal ruin in downtime. But there may be ways, but you can't really count on them. Is I guess what it boils down to: healing ruin in gold. Okay, I think that's enough information about the rules so that you'll be able to make informed character choices. So let's let me look at the time. Okay, we are so this took a little longer than I had anticipated. We are at the hour. Why don't we take a break here? Why don't we take 5 minutes? We'll come back in 5 minutes and we'll start the character design process. Sound cool?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. See you in 5. Okay, we have taken some time and created some characters. So let's go around the table. Let's go left to right in character keeper order here and introduce our characters and tell us a little about them. So, Nevers, why don't you tell us about Nevin?
All right. So my character is Nevin because that should be easy for me to remember. He is a geomancer, uses the he, him pronouns. He's a geomancer and a retired soldier. And back in his soldiering days, he on the blood-soaked battlefields, he began hearing the voice of the blood-soaked earth and the tormented souls of the dead trapped within them that fell in battle. So he embarked on a career as a mage who manipulates the earth and is questing to pay the toll of something that he keeps hearing whispers of in the stone called the Emerald Bridge. And so kind of going hard with the earth mage theme. I've got rituals for maze and door, and I am very excited to see what horrible fate befalls him.
Fantastic. Love it. All right, Risky, would you tell us about your character?
Yeah, so I will be playing Delian, who is also using she, her pronouns. She was a rat catcher who has gotten very good at spearing her targets, and she is now a lancer. She is currently on a quest to pay her father's debt. So that is why she is adventuring around. And for the rituals, I took clock and sever, so leaning more into the sort of precision and planning to execution aspect. So.
I love it. Looking forward to see what makes her tick. Okay. Tom, would you tell us about your character, please?
Okay, so I'll be playing Osto with he, him pronouns. And so Osto, before he was kind of forced into being an adventurer, was a peddler. And essentially, the way that tended to always work was what could go wrong did. The ship crashed. They got hit by bandits that they didn't have enough guards for. They got screwed over by the guildmaster who, hired the guard to toss them out of town and steal their cargo. And he generally worked with his brother. And now what Osto's trying to do is to buy his brother's freedom from Barstool Prison. And in this one, I think we'll say Osto's brother, maybe with or without his knowledge, had a package of mushrooms that are viewed as very controlled. He was trying to smuggle into a town. And while Osto was trying to get the rest of their cargo up to get in through the gate, one of the guards found those, and his brother is now in jail. And since trading just wasn't working out, he scrounged together some armor and a sword, and now is attempting to get enough gold together to get his brother out of jail, and maybe try to do something where their luck will change.
I love it. Fantastic. And finally, Erik, would you tell us about your character, please?
So if Ifori, he uses he, him pronouns. He's a grave robber, a real rough character, a big guy with an eye patch, and he's decided to sort of make something for himself by robbing the tomb of a sort of great and beloved adventurer. So he stole the guy's amulet of protection and his really fancy longsword, and he needs to make some money back to fix the tomb or hide what he did. He knows how to raise a corpse, but he doesn't like to talk about that. And he has a very ridiculous drive to replace a guy that he claims is named Kyrus. Everyone else knows the name is Cyrus, and at the Earthen Council. So he thinks if he makes enough money or kills Cyrus or something, then he can become a great man.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Fantastic. We've got our fantastic. We have our band of desperate treasure hunters. So you have been traveling through an area called the Crystal Frontier. The Crystal Frontier is a magical desert that has like pinkish sand and like large quartz, large crystals of various things that like jut up out of the earth. It's a barren place. It's a fairly barren place, but one thing that the Crystal Frontier is known for are what are called tomb crystals, which the ancients like had hollowed out crystals and used them as burial places for their respected dead. And so there are many bands of there are many companies that travel the Crystal Frontier, cutting into tomb crystals to find the riches and occasionally horrors that can be found therein. And I'm thinking that and you folks, you had been this isn't your first rodeo. You've been adventuring together for a while. I'm going to so we're going to establish a little bit of background here. So one thing about tomb crystal that is dangerous, and that is the powder that the powder and residue from cutting into tomb crystal is poisonous. If you breathe that in, there's a chance that the crystals can take root in the body and start like growing inside you. And this is that's a condition known as tomb crystal poisoning. And one of you, I will let you decide. I'll let you decide who it is, was exposed to tomb crystal dust and has contracted tomb crystal poisoning on your last adventure. So I'm going to ask some questions about our last adventure to just kind of like set the scene a little bit. I'm going to go. So do we have a volunteer who like wants to say that I was the one who contracted this?
Ifori is a pretty stupid guy who has like a gross eye sort of wound condition, so he's a candidate for sure, unless someone else is more excited about it.
I could see Nevin as definitely being the one who diagnosed you,
Yeah.
being the geomancer.
Well, cool. Okay. Okay, I'm cool with this. So, I'm gonna ask Delian, what treasure was your group seeking in the Crystal Frontier?
Oh no. And that's in the desert.
Yeah, it's a desert region. It's notable for like large like giant crystal rock formations jutting out. It's hilly, it's barren, it's arid. It's not completely dead. There are plants and whatnot, but it's a pretty desolate place.
I think that there was a like a staff that can summon like a sandstorm that we were looking for.
Oh, okay. You're looking for a magic item. Love it. Osto, describe tell us tell us about the location that you had heard that you were seeking that you were seeking this. And I'm sorry, Risky. Could you say like what was the artifact that you were looking for again?
Like a staff that can control like sandstorms.
Staff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll call it the if it's okay, we'll call it the staff of blowing sands.
Yeah, I like it.
So
Okay.
where were you So, like, tell us a little bit about the place that you were seeking the staff of blowing sands.
Okay, so let's see. So we're going to a tomb inside one of the crystals, and this particular tomb is supposed to be down kind of through a series of cracks between other crystals. So you kind of have to slide down these almost like kind of canyon-like entrances to find this old tomb of an old wizard. And it's not like one of the big upright crystals. It's one that's kind of buried in the ground, and to find it, it's kind of hidden under an overhang of other large crystals, and there's not a lot obvious from the surface. And then that's where we're trying to find down into, to go through these canyons and the cracks, and then find the crystal that goes down as opposed to up. It's carved out for this ancient mage's thing. Is that enough detail, or do you?
Yep, that's cool. I'm just taking a couple of notes on the records tab. Cool. And Nevers, would you tell us, so what danger did you face when you attempted to recover the staff? And I'm also going to ask, did you actually recover the staff?
So I kind of think that we probably didn't. Because like this artifact sounds pretty powerful, and I feel like it seems like one of those, like, we can retire comfortably kind of finds. So maybe we didn't, and that's why we can't give up on this delving life. But as far as the dangers, I think that there are those that are lost within the sandstorms that this artifact summons. Their restless spirits are bound to it, so that it was the lost undead bound to this thing that prevented us from procuring it.
Okay, I love it. I love it. And finally, I will ask Erik, how did Afori get exposed to tomb crystal poisoning?
So I I imagine that he had spotted because you said it's like dust sort of that comes from these crystals, right?
Yep.
So I imagine he had found something he thought, a crystal or something like that he thought was terribly valuable, and hid it away, and then just didn't wash his hands, ate their next meal, and probably rubbed his eye as well, because it's always itching, his ruined one. So just didn't think about the fact that these things can come off of anything. So and probably hid it until Nevin sort of noticed that things were wrong.
Awesome.
Probably still has the crystal.
Okay, cool. Yeah, there is a game mechanic for tomb crystal poisoning, which is like incorporating a rule from Trophy Dark, which is if you have tomb crystal poisoning, you have to make what's called a ruin roll at the start at every morning. I'm not going to enforce that, especially because I don't expect us to take that much time. So, and I'm going to say that since Nevin is a geomancer and knows this sort of thing and probably has heard rumors, you don't know how to cure tomb crystal poisoning, but you know of someone who can. Or at least you've never met this individual, but you've heard rumor that there is a sorcerer that lives in the Crystal Frontier, not too far from where you had been, who goes by the name of Marble Eye. And Marble Eye allegedly has a cure for tomb crystal poisoning. So you have set off in search of Marble Eye in order to hopefully retain his services to cure Ifori's affliction. So Marble Eye lives in a place known as Pickbone Mound. And looking at the time, we're at the top of the hour. Why don't we take a short break here? We'll come back and we will start playing earnest.
Woo!
Let's take 5 minutes. Folks need longer than 5? Okay.
I should be fine with 5.
Awesome. Let's
Yeah,
take
that'd
5.
be good.
And we're back. Okay, let's start this game in earnest. I'll tell you a little bit. So just again, a little bit of housekeeping here. So this adventure only has 3 sets. So hopefully we'll be able to get through them all in the remaining time. We shall see. So it is morning in the Crystal Frontier. The sun is coming up. The sky is clear and has just a little bit of a pinkish tinge to it, presumably from the pink sand and the pink dust that gets blown into the sky. You're approaching Pickbone Mound. Pickbone Mound itself is one of many ancient burial mounds. This rounded barrow rises from the rocky, crystal-strewn desert. As you approach, you notice there is a small copse of shrubby trees in the shadow side of the barrow. And as you approach the path, a breeze kicks up and several crystal-studded tumbleweeds kind of roll past you, and you hear the distant like tinkle and hum of just like discordant ethereal notes, which is again typical of the Crystal Frontier as the wind blows past the crystals and makes eerie noises. You ascend the hill, and before you, there's several low walls that have made of just piled stone that designate like where the edges of presumably Marble Eye's property is. And there's a hut. It's made of old adobe and stone bricks with a thatched roof. It looks pretty ramshackle. I'm sorry, it's not thatched. It's roof. The roof is made of untanned hides. And as you approach, a tall, thin, gaunt man steps out of the hut and stands before it and just silently watches you as you approach. What do you do?
I'm gonna walk up towards him with my hands out so you can see I'm not holding any weapons. And I flip up my patch to show him. I don't know if there are symptoms that are visible.
You probably don't have too advanced a case yet. That's what the symptoms is basically like small crystals like crystals start growing out of your body. They usually start internally with like growing out of your bones. Left untreated, these crystals will like, erupt through your skin, and that's just bad. But you probably have there's probably some skin blemishes that at first look like acne, and then when you look at them closely, you realize these are like little crystals that are starting to grow out of your skin.
Okay, that's what I figured. So yeah, I'll sort of keep my eye to the light so he can see maybe. And I say, I've got the rot.
So the man stands there. He's got his arms crossed in front of him. He is filthy. He's covered with dust and grime. He's wearing tattered blood red robes that look like they were once. It looks like they were once just magnificent, but they are just like shabby and tattered at this point. And he let you get close, and you notice, and he's old. He's got to be in his 70s. He's bald. He's got like tattoos on his bald head. The thing that is most striking about him, however, is that his eyes are solid milky white. That does not seem to stop him, because he looks you up and down and says, "Yes, yes, you most certainly do have the rot, or the crystal rot. It'll take all of you eventually." He nods, and he looks at the rest of you and says, and he exhales briefly. He exhales loudly, as if sighing, and says, "Yes, and you appear to have found me. What do you wish?"
Well, it's obvious, ain't it? Friend here's got the rot. You Marblehead, or ain't you?
Yes, they call me Marble Eye.
Aye, Marblehead, Marble Eye. Same thing.
Hmm.
Well,
Right then.
you're
So you
opposed
want me to?
victim?
So you wish me to cure? Yes. Well, I am an expert on curses, placing them and removing them. I will gladly do it for I will gladly do it for my usual price of 10 gold.
We're not wealthy.
I did. No, you did not appear to be.
So what do you need?
Service then. Yes, yes. I will do this for a service.
Otto's going to smile and say a reasonable service, of course.
Breaking character for just a minute. I forgot a very important game mechanic thing. That is, I need to name the set and tell you as players what the set goal is. The set is called Pickbone Mound. The set goal is to gain entrance into the crypts.
Okay.
That's that's player knowledge.
Mhm. Well, speaking as one.
So he says, he looks up at the sky. He looks at the rest of the top of this barrow, and you do see, there's a single standing stone near his hut. On the other side of the standing stone, again separated by this low wall. It's only maybe 3 feet tall of just made of piled stones. There is a partially exposed tomb. It almost looks like a little amphitheater. Just goes down, and there's an altar on it. And he says, It is time for a sacrifice. I was going to retrieve one of the hogs that live in the, and he gestures down toward that copse of shrubs. It is time for a monthly sacrifice that one must make to the gods that protect this place. I was going to retrieve one of those. I was going to retrieve a hog, but perhaps you could do that for me. Tell you what. Go down there, and again he gestures to he gestures down to the copse of shrubby trees at the base of the mound. Bring me back 2 live hogs, and bring me back 2 live hogs, and then bring one down into the crypt. Then bring one down into the crypt for the sacrifice. If you do that, I will remove that curse upon you.
Now,
And also, there's a beast down there. If you were to go down there and you were to bring me the bit ahead of the beast, I would also pay you for that service.
How much?
I would give you 5 gold if you brought me back the head of the beast.
and this is on top of curing the curse.
Yes.
Are we doing the sacrifice?
Oh, I will do the one above. You would do the one. I would do the one above. The powers that be would do the one below.
Now, just so I'm following you correct, the sacrifice is to open doors, gain entrance to the crypt, yeah?
Aye.
Perhaps we can skip the rigmarole. I know a ritual that can open doors even when there are no doors to be opened.
A geomancer, are you?
Aye.
Well, the problem with using geomancy to open a, and he then goes into he then goes into like really arcane detail that you 100% understand. No one else does. He might as well be talking Greek or like, advanced astrophysics or something like that. But Nevin, you absolutely understand when Marble Eye starts talking about the various energies and the ley lines and the warding magics that have been placed upon here, that attempting to open this door with other sorts of magic, particularly geomancy, would break the wards of protection and could conceivably unleash some untold terrors that lay below. Consequently, he strongly advises you not to do that.
All right, let's get the damn pigs then. It's as plain as day. You all heard him.
So Octo's gonna rub his chin and say, "So we just take the pig down below, and he's gonna do the air quotes powers that be will arrange for the sacrifice."
We will do a blood. I shall perform a sacrifice of blood ritual with one of the hogs here. That will open the way to the crypt. We will then lower you and the pig down below. You must bring that to the inner sanctum, to an altar, where I will ask you to simply chain the pig to a ring, and then you may leave.
Is that where the beast is?
Aye.
Does the beast come for the pig?
The beast is imprisoned magically. The wards that keep it there require life force. Therefore, bringing a sacrifice down there. Now, a human sacrifice would power the wards for a year or more. I am not that sort of person. Animals shall suffice. Uh, the hogs seem to power it for pretty. The hogs power it for one cycle of the moon.
Why do you care if the beast is contained if we're going to kill it and bring its head to you?
Well, I've been unable to kill it myself. If you were to slay it and bring it, if were you to slay it and bring me its head, well, then I wouldn't need to keep it contained now, would I?
I see.
What,
Just as, no, go ahead.
I am, however, not much of a. I am a sorcerer. I am not much of a warrior.
well, can you tell us what manner of beast it is? What it do? What can kill it? What can't?
You know what? You are asking questions about the world. I think this is going to be a hunt roll.
Okay.
I'm going to give you answers anyway, but this is sort of abstracting there. So, Nevin, you are asking, do you have a skill that is helping you with this line of questioning?
Well, I think tactics might work since
I would absolutely give you tactics for that, since you're asking for tactics about asking for this information. So, yeah, let's. So if you go to the die roller and you go to the hunt, why don't we do why don't you roll with 2 dice, one for asking and one for having an appropriate skill?
cool. So I got 2 2s.
Got a pair of 2s. Okay.
Pair of 2s.
Okay. You don't get a hunt token. That's fine. So Marble Eye looks at you and says, "It is a demon. It is a very dangerous demon that I have imprisoned here. The wards are holding, but someone needs to feed it. It is it calls itself Rolling Bull. It is an extraordinarily dangerous foe. I would warn you to keep it in its wards unless you wished. However, I would imagine warriors such as yourself might be able to take it."
Warriors, he's talking to you lot.
But there are wards down there that one must be careful not to break, lest you bring its wrath upon you. That is why I am asking you to do this service for me in exchange for removing your friend's curse. Terribly painful if you were to let that course of poison run its course.
Ostos could look at him and ask, "So, what wards should we not destroy? How can we tell what those are when we're down below?"
Inside the Inner Crypt. You know what? You're also asking. I will ask you to also make a hunt roll.
Okay.
Again, do you have a skill that is helping you in this?
Would trading help? Since we're trying to get information out of it.
You know, I'm going to say, yeah, you're doing you're trying to do some quid pro quo here. Yeah, I'll let trading help. So yeah, go ahead and do another hunt roll.
Okay.
It's going to be 2 dice.
2 dice and roll. I got a stag and a 2.
Okay, awesome. So stag is a 6. That's the trophy. The trophy symbol is a 6. So yeah, take a hunt token.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, and by the way, the something terrible that you got from the previous roll was just the warning that there is a demon down there. The wards, yes. Just let me just do a quick roll so I'm remembering things correctly.
Okay. And I have one question. Oh, never mind.
And there are it says yes in the inner chamber on the altar which are runes etched are runes forged of pure gold that are set into the altar. They are indeed valuable. However, those are the wards that are keeping the demon imprisoned in its chamber. Were you to remove those runes because they are tempting, that would break the seal. I would advise against it.
And then also wants to ask, you said lower us down into the crypt with the hogs.
Aye.
Is there a list that he can see or anything, or?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't quite get what you said.
Can he see how you'd be lowered down, or?
From here, you can't really tell.
Well, then he's going to ask, like, how do we get down with the hogs? And he's also going to ask, like, do you have ropes or harnesses for us, or chains for us to use to bring them back?
He does. He does have. He explains that. So the first hog is going to be a blood sacrifice, and that's going to like open up a. So the first is going to be a blood sacrifice that's going to like open the wards, and so that's going to cause like the stone. It's going to cause the stones to open up a 10 by 10 pit that goes down about 30 feet into the crypt below. He's got a set of pulleys and ropes that he would use to lower the hog, and would also like lower you down there. Now, out of character, I'm looking at the time. If it's okay with you, without having to like actually spend the hunt tokens that you've the one hunt token that you've got, I'm gonna just jump ahead and solve this set just so that we have time, because I honestly the capturing the live hogs part is probably the least interesting part of this adventure. So it can be fun. And if we had 3 hours of play remaining, I'd probably go through that. But if it's okay with you, I think we'll just hand wave that, and I will ask you to tell us. Like, I'm going to ask you in turn, ask you what your how you successfully captured 2 hogs. That okay with you to just kind of like
Sure.
solve this?
Yeah.
We'll just do this narratively, just because I want to get to the good stuff. I'll ask each of you in turn, like what you did to track down, and like what your contribution was to track down, and let's see. So we're gonna go in reverse order here. Ifori, what was your contribution that helped you like locate a pair of hogs to capture?
So I was thinking I would try to leave out some food or like a trail of it for them. And then Fori's a real jerk, so he would have just like broken one of their legs or something. He doesn't want to like wrestle them. So if they just need to be alive, then that's good enough for him.
Okay.
Like with his
Osto,
crowbar.
yeah. Also, what was your contribution? What was your contribution? And did you let this act of animal cruelty happen?
Well, I think I'm going to say that Osto wasn't able to stop it because he didn't realize what was going on until it was done. And then he looks at Ifori and says, "You're carrying that hog." And Osto's contribution was for the other hog. He tried to set up a snare to catch it, So, if they tried to run from when they saw him coming with the food, that would try to catch it. And his contribution was to roll around and tie up the other hog and get just filthy in the process.
Got
So
it.
he a walking, stinking mass of mud, but he has a hog that they can lead on the rope, maybe.
Fantastic. Dillian, how did you contribute to bring these hogs, one injured and one tied up, back up the back up to the top of the barrow?
I think that Delian, as she sort of has experience with trying to catch animals, so I think she was kind of hurting. She was kind of moved upwind to sort of move the pigs like towards where these traps were waiting, so kind of to make sure that the pigs got into the right area to even be in the traps.
Love it. And Nevin, how did you assist Marble-Eye with the ritual to open the tomb?
So for the ritual, so they're being like sacrificed like on an altar.
One of them is going, yeah, one of them is sacrificed. The other, I assume the one with the broken leg, and the other you're going to be bringing down alive.
So I think the sacrifice that we do, I sort of call to the hungry earth, the stone of the altar, and kind of in tone, like I sort of speak to the stone, and I think Nevin thinks the stone talks back to him, but I kind of like almost like ringing the dinner bell, but for the hungry stone and the blood spilled upon it.
I love it. So the ritual does culminate with Marble-Eye pouring some of the pig's blood onto the altar. The blood is like absorbed by the bare rock, and there's a rumble in the ground as the sound of stone grating on stone as like a large square section of stone just kind of like by itself slides to one side. And there's a 10-foot by 10-foot square pit that descends straight down into the barrow. It's made of cut stone, like it was carved directly into the bedrock. Cool and slightly foul smelling air, ever so slightly not great smelling air, like wafts out of this hole in the ground. Marble-Eye then basically coaxes the remaining pig on its lead into a a wood and rope contraption, which connected to a winch, which he then like lowers with a crank, like down into the hole, and then like gestures toward this rope that's going down. It should not be a particularly difficult climb.
So before they go down, Osto looks at, and he tries to draw himself up to his full height, but it's kind of ruined a little bit by the fact that there is stuff that's probably mud just dripping off of him, but maybe not. It asks him, since you trapped this demon, does it have any weaknesses that we can use that you know of?
He fixes his pupilless gaze with yours and says, "Aye. It is susceptible to weapons that have been enchanted."
I pull out my sword. And I say, "Then do it."
I am not that sort of sorcerer.
What do you expect us to do then? These are nails?
Well, it's particularly susceptible to magical weapons, but I suppose regular weapons would work, or you could choose to simply not free it. If you wish to slay the demon and bring me his head, it's worth 5 gold plus whatever you find down there.
So I'm gonna pick I'm gonna pick him up by his robes. I've got strength. I'm a big dude, I guess, and I bring him close and I say, if we're the sacrifices, then whatever is left of me is gonna crawl back up for you and your pretty eyes. What do you think of that?
I think this is going to be a risk roll. I think this is going to be a risk roll. So what
Okay.
are you? So what? Because you're physically accosting a sorcerer.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask. So what are you? What are you trying to gain out of this? What
I'm
are
trying
you
to
hoping to
get.
accomplish?
I'm trying to figure out whether this is just a trap for one thing, but any sort of help he can, anything else that he might be hiding.
Okay.
That's I
Okay.
guess what I'm looking for. Anything he's hiding, whether that's a trap or something
Oh,
else.
okay. You're trying to see if he could. Okay. Okay. Cool. What are you afraid going to happen if this doesn't go so well?
Probably that he'll curse me on the spot or just pretend to cure me and make it worse.
Okay. I like that. Anyone else have any other ideas as to what could go wrong here? Or just I'm not saying and the way and so the way this works, so the way this works is like I'll generally I'll pull the table or pull a couple of the players to give some ideas, and I won't necessarily use those verbatim, but I'll use this will indicate me like this indicates to me like what you're like the kind of stories that you're interested in seeing, and I'll use that to color whatever the results of this die roll are. That's kind of the purpose of pulling the table to set stakes.
So kind of riffing off the pretending to cure Osto, if he has the ability to affect this curse, possibly making it worse.
Okay.
Like advancing it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that if something goes wrong here, Marble Eye is going to like, he's a sorcerer that's known for curses, so he's probably going to do some kind of curse at you. Okay, let's talk about some dice. Do you have a skill or a piece of equipment that you can use to assist this?
I've got
this course of action?
strength as a skill, so
Do you have strength as a skill?
that was my thought.
Yep, absolutely. I'll give you a light die for that. Would you be willing to entertain a devil's bargain?
Of course.
And this is open to any. This is open. So I'm going to open the table to any devil's bargain. So the way this goes is, no matter what, this new piece of fiction is going to happen. I'm going to say that here's a possibility. No matter what, Marble Eye is going to magically scry upon you on your journey.
My proposal would be, no matter what, he's going to make Ifori the like sort of irresistible to the demon, just to devour, kill, whatever.
Ooh, going harder than the one I had offered.
No, I can't top that one. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, sounds like you like that one. So and I like that one better than mine. So yeah, no matter what, he's going to place a curse upon you that's going to make the demon want you. Awesome. So you're going to get a second light die for that. I don't think I'm going to require using a dark die here.
Yeah.
One. Yeah. Hey, I need to open door for just a sec. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
Okay.
No problem.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, so that's going to be risk with 2 light dice. Oh, one other thing about the risk roll I forgot to mention. That is, if you roll and you don't like the result, you can, and the highest die that you roll, the highest die that came up in the last roll was not a dark die. You can always add another dark die and re-roll and hope for a better result. You can keep doing that until you like the result, or the highest die that comes up is a dark die. One other thing about determining which is the highest die, if a dark die and a light die are tied for the highest die, that's considered dark die being. Make sense?
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, so this is going to be a risk roll, light 2.
Okay. 4 and a 1 or 4.
4 and a 1. Okay, so that is a success with a complication. I am going to say a quick look at your character here. You were trying to, and so I'm going to say the complication is going to be. Say the complication is going. I'm going to say the complication is going to be he puts in a. You're going to get some information here, but the complication is he's going to throw an additional curse on. He's going to throw. Yeah. Complication is he is throwing another curse on you such that your amulet of protection won't work against the demon.
That's what I thought he was gonna do.
Oh, boy. Does he know that?
No, you the player don't know. You the player know that. Erik, you know that.
Right.
Before your character does not know that.
Okay.
If you like that, I'll and again you were trying to get more information out of him and try to figure out if this was a trap or a ruse. So the success is so if you like this result, I'll tell you,
Mhm.
I'll tell you if you like
Yeah.
this result, cool, we'll let it stand. If not, you can add a dark die and try and you can add a dark die and hope for a 6.
No, this is good.
Okay, cool. So you pick him up and you shake him and you threaten him. And Marble Eye doesn't really try to resist being manhandled. He just starts laughing. You people are so distrustworthy. I'm not going to try. Truly, that hog is all I need. I am not trying to sacrifice you. If I wanted to sacrifice you, you would all be dead by now. No, I am a man of my word. I am a man of my word. I will absolutely cure your affliction once you return. And if you slay that demon, yes, I will give you all. I will give you some treasures worth 5 gold. You have my assurance that you are not the intended sacrifice down there. In fact, I am hoping you will be successful in slaying this demon should you choose to do that. But truly, tie the hog up to the altar. It'll be obvious where it goes. Return. I will cure your affliction.
Mayhap shouldn't have done that.
You didn't do it. Don't worry about it. He's just an old
Worried
man.
about you.
Anyway.
I worried about you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
That's fair.
So as you release him and turn your back on him, he just kind of like makes this weird this like odd arcane gesture, and the camera zooms in on your amulet of protection, and it just glows like this. It briefly glows this reddish orange color, and which like goes into like the runes of protection that are on it, settles into that. But none of you actually notice that. That's what the viewers at home see.
I give my trusty amulet a kiss. It's always helped me in the past, so
And you descend. So this shaft goes about. You are now in the outer. So this is a new set. You are in the Outer Crypt. The set goal is to find passage to the Inner Crypt. So these crypts are dug from the earth and carved from bedrock. The ceilings are vaulted and are supported by ancient logs. As you descend, it goes down about this. This is a perfectly square pit. It goes down about 40 feet. It opens up into the center. It opens up into a large room. Just kind of like drops out of the ceiling. It's near the eastern wall. And you find yourself in a large hall. It is completely dark down here. What are you folks using for light?
Also, will light up one of his dim candles.
Light a dim candle. Okay. There is a little bit of light that is filtering down through this pit, through the pit that you came down, but the sunlight was oblique, so there's really not much light at all. However, you light the dim candle, which is illuminating this room dimly. You are in the ceremonial feast hall. 8 dry, cracked tree trunks support the ceiling. The walls of this hall are covered with ancient murals of ochre, cupric, green, charcoal, and red earth. The paintings on the wall depict images of horsemen, chariots, and hoplites, hunting wild beasts, feasting, and bringing war upon their enemies. Leaning upon the walls are ancient bronze and wooden weapons. And in the center of this room is a ceremonial table with carved wooden dishes that are set for 6. There are, however, no seats at this table. Clay amphorae sit at the center of this table. There is a dark passageway leading south and another dark passageway leading west. What do you do? Oh, one other thing I'm going to say is that Marble-Eye casts some kind of spell onto the hog so that it's very easy to lead.
are any of the bronze weapons like a spear?
Yeah, it looks like they're mostly spears and swords. Are you going to examine them?
Yeah, I was gonna grab one of the spears.
Okay. I think that's going to be a hunt roll to like learn more information. I'll tell you information, but you're asking questions about the world, so that'll be a hunt roll.
Sure.
Do you have any skill or piece of equipment that's going to help you in your investigation of these weapons?
I don't think so. The only thing I could think is close is persistence, but I don't know if that really applies here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that would.
Oh, I do. I was, unless other people were going to protest, I was going to end up smashing at least one of those clay things in order to inspect its inspect its contents or anything about it. But maybe that's a later thing.
Okay,
And
well
then
let's deal with the weapons first. Oh, I'm sorry, Tom. What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, essentially, Opto's gonna try to do the same thing because he's looking for something that might be magic to use against the demon, and also B, are these valuable enough that it's worth hauling them out? Because 5 gold is not gonna pay off his debt.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So I don't know how duplicating rolls go for the hunt.
No, I mean this is fine. So each of you are examining like so. One other thing is there was in one corner of this room there was also a pile of looks like ancient bronze armor. So I don't say like one of you is investigating the weapons and the other is investigating the armor. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
I do,
Erik, you went first, so you're investigating the weapons. So
I do have the skill to death, which I don't know if that helps as far as weaponry and such. But
this is a burial mound, so I'm gonna let you.
Oh.
Yeah, I think this is
Okay.
yeah, this is a burial mound, and this is a tomb, and these look like some kind of ritual sacrifice. So I'm gonna let you. So yeah,
Okay,
I'll
cool.
give you a dark die for that, or a light die for that. So yeah, why don't you do a hunt 2?
Okay. Twos.
Oh, okay.
And hunt ones we can't re-roll, right?
No, you can't re-roll hunt rolls.
Okay.
Okay. You do not get a hunt token. So you said you were picking up you're picking up the spear.
Yeah, the weapons, I guess. Looking at them. in
Yeah,
general.
you're examining the weapons. So yeah, so you look. There's what looks like looks like a bronze sword. You pick that up, and you can tell this thing. One, it was never actually intended as a weapon. This is like a ceremonial weapon. Looked like it was probably once of fine manufacture, but the bronze has decayed terribly over the centuries, and it's you pick it up and it's clearly if you struck it hard against something, it would just shatter in your hands. And again, you pick up the spear, and you notice that its bronze head is just covered in dried blood. But again, you pick it up, and like the wood is just like completely dry rotted, and it just crumbles in your hands, and you get this smell of just like you get this like awful acrid smell of like rotted or perhaps even burnt wood. These things just collapse in your hands when you examine them. I don't think there's going to be a condition, but you are not sure that now that you've like picked up these ritual objects, you're not sure if this has angered whatever spirits might be living here, just disturbing these objects and destroying them.
I spit on the wreckage.
Yeah. So Osto, you said you were examining the armor?
Yeah.
Okay. Same question. This is going to be a hunt roll. Do you have any skills or piece of equipment that's going to help you here?
Does defense help? Is a skill?
I think defense is going to help you while you're examining armor, because those are defensive things. So yeah, I'll give you. So why don't you do a hunt 2 and let's see what you get.
All right. Oh, encounter something horrible, terrible.
Also,
Three
you
and
also
one.
encounter something terrible. So okay, you poke the. So you sift through this. You sift through this armor. And again, it looks like this was never actually intended to be really used as armor. These were ceremonial, symbolic pieces that were used to presumably, honor the crypts of fallen honored soldiers. The terrible thing you encounter, however, is as you're sifting through this, it looks like you uncover a nest of centipedes that had been that had made a nest in this pile of armor. There's at least a dozen of them. They're bright red. They're just they're disturbed, and a bunch of them like come right at you. What do you do?
So Octo's gonna let out kind of a very undignified squeal and go backwards. Bugs, 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 and he's gonna try to pull his shield off his back and use that to kind of smash them as they come at him.
Okay, I think that's going to be a risk roll. I think the obvious thing that could go wrong is that you get stung by these centipedes.
So then, what dice should I set for this?
Okay, so this is going to be a risk roll. So we're going to assemble a little dice pool of 6. So the first question is like, what are you? I think it's obvious what you're trying to do. You're trying to like get away from this centipede swarm.
Yep.
And avoid getting stung. I think what goes wrong is you're going to get stung by these. Do you have and you said you're using your shield to try to do that, so I think that's going to count as a piece of equipment that's helping you. Would you consider a devil's bargain here?
I would consider it. Then I'm going to ask though. So is it you get 1 die for a skill or equipment? You can't get.
Yeah, 1
2
die
dice,
for
right?
skill or equipment. Yes, you get another light die for accepting the devil's bargain. You can choose to add a dark die if you're willing to risk your mind, body, or soul, or if the GM determines that it is so inherently dangerous it must include a dark die. If you don't have a skill, you don't have a piece of equipment, and you are not willing to accept a devil's bargain, you don't get any light dice. In which case, the only thing you could do would be a dark die.
Okay.
This
So
is
right now
where
I have 1 die unless I take a devil's bargain.
okay. Let's see. No matter what, centipedes. No matter what, some of the centipedes get into your equipment. No matter
Yeah, I
what,
think
some of the centipedes. Yeah, no matter what, some of the centipedes get into your backpack. For
Okay.
surprise
I
later.
think I'll pass on the devil's bargain and just see how this comes out with the light die.
That works.
And
Hey,
the,
let's
and
do it.
the way I roll in D6 games, it's not going to be good, but we'll see.
Okay, yeah, let's do
Got
a
a
risk 1.
4.
Okay. Okay, that's a success with a complication. I think the complication is going to be I think the complication is you get. I think the complication is you do get bit by the centipedes a couple of times. It is not going to increase your ruin, but I'm going to give you the. I'm going to give you the. I'm going to if you want to accept this. Yeah, you get away. There's no ruin. There's no nothing. And I'm going to give. However, I'm going to give you the condition. Scared of centipedes.
Okay.
You do that? Okay, cool. Yeah, why don't you tell us what that looks like?
So essentially, Osto gets back and they bite him, and he manages to eventually crush them with his shield, and he dances around, and once again, it's a display of not necessarily what you'd want from your mercenary guard, but he says ow 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 and dances kind of from foot to foot and rubs the spots where he gets bitten, and then goes back several times and smashes them a little more into the dirt until they're done. And now kind of periodically as we go forward, like if you look over, you can catch him rubbing at the spots where the centipedes bit him. And he also kind of like, if things look like they're moving down in the dirt, he hits it quick with his boot and kind of grinds sideways whenever he thinks he sees anything moving.
Got it. Okay, nice. Love it.
Before he deals with these guys all the time, so he's gonna laugh and laugh in the worst ways possible.
Risky Risky, could you tell me? I think I've been mispronouncing your character's name. Do you go? Is it Delian? Delian? How do you want to pronounce that?
I say Delian. It's
Delian. Okay, cool. What are you doing down here? Again, there's two passageways that go off, and there's also this ceremonial table. There's also these these paintings on the walls. Anything you'd like
Yeah.
to do?
So I was actually going to see if I could investigate the two passages and see if I could figure out which way to go using my layer skill.
Okay. Sure. So you're gonna basically you're trying to figure out which way is the best way to go from here.
Yeah, or at least like get some information about what might be down each way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a hunt roll, and layers is definitely going to come into play. So why don't we do a hunt too?
Okay. Okay. I got
Okay,
it.
take a hunt token.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to tell you, and again, do you have your own light source? Because
I
so
do
far
not.
the only
That's what I
so
was
far
gonna
the
say.
only
I do not.
okay. If you would want to, this is how this is how it works. If you want to say that I've been carrying torches this whole time, you can use one of your unclaimed backpack slots to
Oh, okay.
pick something like torches, or I think, is there a lantern?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how that worked. But yeah, if I
You
can
can
do
either
that,
have
that would
torches, or you can choose to have like a lantern and another slot to have lantern oil.
yeah, I would like to do the lantern and lantern oil, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go ahead and put those in.
Okay. So yeah, you've got plenty of light now.
Okay.
Lantern and lantern oil. Oops. Okay, just looking here. Okay. So I will so yeah, you did get the something terrible that you see is, well, I'll do the looking into the passageway to the south. That does have a set of stairs that are going down, and it looks like there's another tomb down there with a stone sarcophagus. I'm thinking that since you're just kind of like looking around quickly, or you go down to the bottom of the stairs and see what's there. You then head back up and check the western passageway, and that is a winding dirt tunnel that leads. That's kind of like a winding dirt tunnel. Looks like it's going to make a few S turns. There are the first. There are several like evil-looking crude stone statues of warriors, and it looks like these statues are. It looks like they've got some kind of magical wards on them. So I'm going to tell you that that something terrible that you find is that there's some kind of like magical trap that leads to the west.
To the west.
Yep, that's the western passage through the dirt.
Okay.
Or through the earthen passage.
Cool. Okay. I will, once everybody's done investigating things, I will let everybody know what I have found.
Okay. Nevin, what are you doing in this chamber? So there was that table in the center that hasn't been, there's the table, and there's also the paintings that haven't really been examined.
Yeah. So the table in the center of the room, you said it was like a ceremonial table?
Yep, it looks like it looks like it was a ceremonial table. Like this whole thing looks like a ceremonial feast hall. It's set for
Okay.
6. There are no chairs, but the table is set. There are 6 wooden plates around the table, and there are a few clay amphora set in the center of the table.
Okay. So yeah, I suppose I'll check out the table and see if if this was set here for some sort of ritual purpose. Maybe it might either offer some clue as to how to better navigate this, or maybe it might be useful in and of itself.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's gonna be another hunt roll since you're asking questions about
Okay.
the world.
Would I mean patterns be helpful here as a kind of
I'll give you patterns. You're looking for patterns to see. Yeah, I'll give you patterns for this.
okay? So that's a
So there'll be a hunt
light guide
2.
there.
Yep,
Okay, so that's 2 light dice.
2 light
and
dice. And
I
you
got a
can do
5.
5. Excellent. So take a hunt token.
Cool.
So the something terrible that you see is going to be somewhat similar to what Delian saw, and that is you can just since you know the magical patterns, you just know that the way you have to go is to the west, and you also know that there's some kind of magical trap there that will probably bear further investigation. So that's the something terrible. What you do find,
Okay.
so looking at the table, this was clearly like a ceremonial feast hall that was set to honor the dead, the dead warriors that were buried here. This is a place to give them fortification so that they could move on to the next world. The amphorae were all sealed with their wine amphora. They're probably like between 1 and 3 liters in size. The smallest of them, actually, most of them appear to be empty. Again, whatever contents they must have had may have evaporated. The smallest of them is sealed in wax, and it does appear to actually still have liquid in it.
Okay. Are there any markings or perhaps residue on the side of it that might give me a clue as to what's in it? I'm going to take it either way.
They're pretty. These amphora. I'm going to say they are all decorated with similar motifs as to what were painted on the walls, which is again, I'm thinking like an ancient Greek theme here. Like hoplites with with a helmet that's got like a big crest on it, and spears. So I'm thinking ancient Greek amphorae, and they're all decorated with with warriors and martial motifs.
Okay. Well, good news and bad news. Bad news that Delian, that passage you found, we got to go through there.
I was
This
really
trapped one.
hoping you were going to say that.
That's what the stones tell me.
Mm.
Good news is I found whatever this is. Might be helpful. Or might just get us drunk. We'll find out.
What's it smell like?
You pop the cork, and it smells like wine. It's perhaps, not the best wine you've ever smelled, like it's been down here for a long time. Wine ages to a certain extent, but after that it doesn't. Well, it still ages, it just doesn't improve. It smells like it's mostly palatable. It might be a little oxidized, but you could definitely drink it if you wanted to.
Well, it's not quite vinegar yet. Not too far off either. I'm gonna try a little sip of it.
Okay. You try a little sip of it. You take a sip of the wine. You have a sudden image of it, just like it comes to mind. You like gaze off in the distance, and you just have an image of an ancient battlefield, where like lines of lines of warriors in, like, again, ancient armor with ancient weapons are fighting in lines. One of them falls, and you like see into its eyes as it falls, as like a ghostly image like steps out of it, and like a ghost, like the spirit comes out of this dead warrior, and the vision fades, but the spirit is still there, and looks at you and nods at you, and you are the only one who can see this
Okay.
spirit. But you can now take the condition guardian spirit. I'm sorry, warrior spirit ally.
Cool.
And this has a mechanical benefit, which is the warrior spirit. You can clear this condition. In combat to let the warrior spirit act as a piece of armor.
Awesome.
So in combat, if in combat were you to take a hit, you can clear the warrior spirit ally condition, and the warrior spirit will take the hit as if it were a piece of armor. It's a one-time use thing.
Nice.
I'm guessing that used up the wine.
Yeah, I mean, if you took a sip, it's still palatable wine, but it only affects the first person to sample it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So yeah, you can clear the condition warrior spirit ally to let it take a hit. Take a hit that would have been to you.
Well, there may be a demon bound to this place, but the spirits of the valiant still linger about as well. Might be more about. Best to keep an eye out.
Good to know.
Shall we?
Mm-hmm. You said there's a trap?
Yeah,
Adelian?
so you had. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
Did you say there's a trap that way, Adelian?
There's a ward over those statues over there.
Hmm.
So
Can
looking down this passageway, so it is basically it's an S. It's like a double S shaped passage. There are 4 like man-sized, crudely carved obsidian statues of warriors. The first one has been knocked over and is like broken into several pieces. As you approach the next one, it animates and steps into the corridor, blocking your path.
Is it attacking or just standing in the
Nope,
way?
it's just standing there.
All right.
And when it stepped forward, it moved fairly slowly. The other things that you notice about this statue is that, again, it's carved very crudely. It is looking at you with eyes, and in its eye sockets are set a pair of dull red gems, which glow which glow just a little bit, just ever so dimly.
Does it have a weapon?
It does not have a weapon.
I say, what do
guessing
you
it is the
say we
weapon.
pin this old boy and take his eyes out with the table? I mean, pin him to the wall.
Aye. If I were to hazard a guess, the eyes are likely what enlivens it. It's a good plan.
They look pretty.
Aye, that too.
Might make up for all of you coming here to die with me, for me, really.
All right.
So
So,
what is
yeah,
what
I'll
is your
start-
plan? So what is
I'll
your
start-
plan to deal with it? What is your plan to deal with this?
I was gonna see if it seems like there's room to pin it with with that big table.
Okay, so you're gonna knock that. So you're gonna yeah, it is indeed it is a large wooden table. You're gonna like remove the things that were on it and try to. Oh, and as you back away, if you back away from it, it reanimates and steps back into its alcove.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll try to move the table, and if there's room in the passageway to sort of use it to pin this thing.
Okay, cool. Are you just kind of like
Austin's
Are you
gonna help.
dumping what? Tom, go ahead.
No, just to say, Asta will help before you try to pin him with the table.
Are you carefully clearing the table, or are you just kind of like picking it up and dumping everything off of it?
No, unless someone else is interceding, if Ori is not being careful with this stuff.
Okay.
Nah, go for it.
Okay. Most of the clay amphora like shatter. The plates are made of wood, so they just kind of clatter on the floor. And yeah, you pick up this table. It's pretty heavy. It is indeed made of solid wood. It's been down here a while, so it's very dry. But yeah, you pick up the table, and so you're going to try to pin the guardian. You're going to try to pin the guardian in place with the table.
Mhm.
Okay, I think that is going to be a risk roll, and there's two of you doing this, so I think we can call this. Yeah, I think the two of you working. I think the two of you working together is fine. Yeah, this will be a risk roll. So obviously, what you want to do is to pin this guardian in place so that you don't have, so that it can't like block your path, which is cool. I love this. What could possibly go wrong here?
Yeah, it could grab one or both of our wrists and start, pulling us in or breaking them.
Yeah, I was going to say basically that, which was it knocks. I was going to say what could possibly go wrong here is that it knocks the table away, and this moves immediately to a combat roll. Anyone else have ideas? I think that's pretty much obvious. If this fails, you're just going to have to fight it.
Makes sense to me.
Okay. Devil's Bargain. So I guess my first question is, let's talk dice. So who's gonna lead here? And if so, do you have a skill or? You know what? I'm gonna say you've got a piece of equipment. You've got this table, so you're gonna get a light die for that. I am also going to say that this is going to be inherently dangerous, so I'm going to require a dark die.
Okay.
Devil's
And
Bargains.
other skills and stuff don't matter, so it's just about devil's bargain at
Yeah,
this
at this point it's going to be Devil's Bargain. I'm gonna say no matter what, this table gets destroyed.
But he would still be pinned in
He'd still be
theory if-
pinned. He'd still be pinned.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
But yeah.
Okay. So I am going to require a dark die because this is an inherently dangerous task. So who's doing lead here? And I think the way we're going to do this, since this is two of you doing this, one of you will take lead and roll this, and the other can use the help roll mechanic. And the way the help roll mechanic is, you roll a light die, and the person making the risk roll can choose to use the die that you rolled in their result. But if that die roll, the die roll from the help roll matches any of the dark dice, your ruin goes up. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you have a preference on who leads, Erik? Or
Who's at greater risk? The leader or the helper?
I think it's even because we both have not
Right.
necessarily. It depends on if. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort this out in my head. But it's
it's
if
I
the
mean,
help die matches.
yeah, if the help die matches the dark die, the helper's ruin is going to go up. The person rolling the risk roll, their ruin will go up if the dark die is highest.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. If the dark die is highest, I'm sorry. It's not your ruin goes up. It's if the hold on. Let me double check to make sure I've got this right. I haven't used help roll in a while. Help roll. If another treasure hunter is making a risk roll that includes one or more dark dice, you can offer to help before or after they roll.
Oh,
Player can be helped by more than one treasure hunter at a time. So yeah, you don't have to roll, and you don't have to roll unless the initial roll is a failure. If they accept your help, say how you expose yourself to danger and roll a light die. The other treasure hunter may include your roll's result when calculating their success, but if your light die matches any of the dark dice rolled, your ruin increases by 1. You may only suffer 1 ruin when helping, even if the player being helped re-rolls a risk roll. The helping player does not re-roll their light die, and the number on the dark die matches again.
all right.
So-
Since it was my bright idea, why don't I do the roll first and then see if we need your help?
That works.
Okay, so
This is going to be that's going to be a risk 2 light, 1 dark.
okay. All right.
Okay, light 6. That's a full success. Tell us how this works.
So the plan was to pin him fully so that he can't sort of raise his animated arms. So yeah, we would just very quickly sort of start to slide and then really jam this thing, slam it up against him before he can animate. So yeah, he's just pinned, sort of wedged in there.
Hey, love it. Yeah, he's stuck. You can get by this one.
Nice.
I'm just going to looking at the time because I want to get to the final set. I am going to say that because you have immobilized this first one, whatever magics would cause the others to animate and attack, to animate for whatever reason is short circuited. So you can just walk past so the other two don't animate when you walk past them. I would normally have you. I would normally, under other circumstances, I would have you tell me how you deal with the other 2 guardian statues, because there were a total of 4, but the first one was already destroyed when you found it. But I want to get to the final encounter, so I'm going to say that that bypasses them.
Can I pluck his eyes out with my crowbar without doing a roll? I don't want to slow things down. It's just
That would be a roll because it's pinned,
Okay.
but I'm going to say it still has,
right.
it can
It's
still.
okay. We can keep going. I can try to get him on the way out if I'm still alive.
Okay, that works. Okay, you have successfully you have now successfully found passage to the Inner Crypt, so you have solved this set without having to spend any hunt tokens. You are now in the Inner Crypt. The set goal for the Inner Crypt is to claim the treasures of the Barrow. This long chamber is carved from bedrock with a vaulted ceiling. It's 20 feet tall at its apex. The room is lit with an eerie, flickering green glow. As you enter this room, the stench of death assails your nose. There are so in the first chamber, hold on, let me get visual here. Yeah. So this is one big room. So this is one big room. There are 6 stone sarcophagi, 3 along each wall. So you kind of enter. So you entered into this room. There's 3 stone sarcophagi on either wall as you enter. So you're walking in between them. Straight ahead, there is another altar made of black granite. The altar is carved with bulls, horses, and bones, and is surrounded by scattered animal bones. Painted on the floor in a semicircle around this altar are a series of intricate magical sigils. Oh, and of course, the most important thing is sitting on the altar. Is this creature? It's a humanoid. Probably stands at least 8 feet tall. Hard to tell because it's kind of like crouched and sitting on this altar. Its skin is blue. It has brightly glowing eyes. It has brightly glowing red eyes, and also growing out of its head are a set of antlers. And it looks at you and says, "Did Marble Eye send more dupes down here?"
Sure did.
Old bastard.
Yeah.
I think that we might be a tad more competent than the usual sorry lot that gets sent down here.
Would you pay us anything for his head?
I would give you a king's ransom if you were to any gestures at those silver sigils in the half circle. I would give you a king's ransom if you destroyed those sigils, freed me so I could finally kill that bastard Alfonso once and for all.
This might be a pay up front situation, friend. No offense.
I don't have it with me.
Mm.
So can I ask an
That's
out of character question?
Yes.
So the hunt tokens, we have 3, I think, between the group.
Yes.
So could we pool those and pay to end the set,
You
and then we
could.
narrate it out?
You can you can absolutely do that if you'd like.
Okay. Just wanted to bring that up as an option.
Yep.
I'm curious to see how combat and everything else works, but just wanted to confirm that was an option.
Yep, that is an option. And the set goal here is to claim the treasures of the Barrow.
Right.
So that wouldn't
you
be
do.
his
So
head.
the other thing is you are leading this feral hog on a lead, and you do see like among the among these sarcophagi, there is like on one wall there's like a large iron ring that was clearly added later, and scattered on the ground near that are, again, scattered on the ground there are piles of animal bones, which look like probably pig bones. It looks like what you were supposed to do is basically tie the pig to that ring, and that's that.
We want to, so yes, we could claim the treasures of Barrow, which would mean we wouldn't get the demon head, right? To get the demon head, we're gonna have to fight him.
If you want the demon head, you're gonna have to fight him. Yes.
Okay.
And the demon says, "Look," and the demon says, "Look, free me. I will tell you, I don't have treasure. The Barrow has treasure underneath this altar that I am sitting upon. There is a passage that leads down to the tomb of the warlord that this entire place was originally built 1,000 years ago. There are many treasures to be found down there. I have no use for those treasures, and they are yours should you."
So I hold up a finger to him, and I want to turn to these guys and I say quietly, "Listen, my life isn't worth that much. If you think it's a better deal, then let's take it. We can find another cure. Who cares? I don't like that old bastard."
I really feel like if it was just as simple as erasing the runes and then he would go up and kill the wizard, it would have already happened. Like some other group would have already done it. It feels like a trap to me, but I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, and Ifori, while you're having this huddle, this thing is staring right at you.
Okay. Well, for his very charismatic man, he thinks so. Of course he is. So I understand. I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, if it didn't feel like a trap, I'd be totally down for whatever.
Should we
Look.
be careful trusting demons?
Generally, I feel like that's a good rule, personally.
Hey, it's a demon.
So off
Besides,
with his head. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, besides, we've come all the way out here. We've had to deal with that cantankerous bastard. And honestly, we've gone to too much trouble not to see this through and save your damn life.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm well past weighing options. We've committed to this.
All right. Let's get him and his treasures and those eyes and everything.
Right?
So what is your plan?
So where the pig bones are, I'm assuming we don't want to let him eat the pig first. But where the pig bones are they like within the circle of runes?
No,
or are they outside?
Hold on. Let me double check I got this right.
So
out of character, I'll tell you that. So this whole and honestly, Nevin probably just knows this because he is like magical and is attuned to geomancy as well. This whole room is suffused with necromantic energy, and you can all just feel just a little tug of your life energy here. So basically what you do is you'll just, the bones are not within the circle. They're outside of the circle. If I mentioned that earlier, I probably miswrote that in my trophy gold write-up. So basically what happens is this room leeches the life, and again, Nevin just knows this. So this room is like leeching energy, and over the course of like 48 hours, it's going to drain the life energy, and that energy powers those runes that are keeping the demon trapped.
Aye.
So it looks like when you tie the hog up there, it just like its life energy, it just gets sapped out of it over time, and it just collapses and presumably, rots, and that's why there are bones there.
All right, so I'll tell that to the group. It's not the demon that eats the hog, but the stones, they reek of death. They tug at the life force of those within it. They pull at our very souls as we speak. If we are to act, we need to do it quickly and decisively.
And I will also point out that the demon is, the demon does not seem to be able to get past that semicircle.
I do have arcane bolts as a weapon.
And I'm going to point out,
Bolts of arcane energy.
yeah, so I'm going to point out that if you've got missile weapons, you could conceivably like fight this thing without it being able to like. You could conceivably fight this thing from outside of the chamber, and it would not presumably be able to like get you into its claws, get you into its clutches. Although it may have some other kind of it may have some other means of defending itself.
Have we stepped into the chamber, or are we still outside of it?
I'm going to say you're probably like right in the threshold of the chamber. I mean, you're probably, if all of you want to be able to see it and converse with the demon, you're probably going to need to step into it. But it's a pretty big
Okay.
room.
Yeah.
I would.
But
like
we're
to-
outside of the circle, though.
You're outside of the circle, yeah.
I would
Yeah.
like to back up into the doorway and check to make sure that there's not some sort of trap that's gonna come down and lock us in the room.
Sure. Go ahead and why don't you go ahead and make a hunt roll on that? Since you're asking questions about the world. Do you have any skills that would help you here?
Layers or precision, maybe?
Yeah. Oh yeah, layer. I think layers is going to help you here. Because this is clearly I think layers is going to help you here. Like someone have put a trap here. Yeah, go. Let's go ahead and do a hunt with let's do a hunt two dice.
Ooh, I got 2.
Okay.
dice.
Take a hunt token.
Okay.
You are pretty much certain that there is actually no trap. You're certain there is no trap here.
Mhm.
The something terrible is like, now that you're like in this room and you've heard what Nevin said, you actually can like feel a little bit of your own life energy like seeping into the, like as you were like feeling around and you touched the
Mhm.
walls, you could just feel a little bit of yourself like move into the stones.
Hate it.
I-
Hate it.
So I have an idea. Is there some wizard bullshit I can do that would basically reverse the circle so that anything within the circle's life force is being drained? Like kind of like it
Interesting.
wouldn't be contained per se, but like those life sapping energies like are focused on the demon inside.
Got it. Before I
I can
answer
help
that
with
question, I want to do a housekeeping thing, and that is we are getting very close to time. This session was scheduled to go till scheduled to go 4 hours, and that is ending in like 15 minutes. I can go on. I can go longer if we want to, but I don't. I want to be respectful of other people's time. Do we want to keep going, or do we want to end it on time? I'm okay either way.
I can go a little further.
Same.
Folks.
Me too.
Okay.
Go like maybe another half hour. Is that okay? If not,
Yeah.
okay. And I don't want to impose on people's time because I know people have lives and etc. Okay, yeah. Let's if it's okay to go an extra half hour, I'm okay with that. probably don't want to go much more than that, but that'll at least give us a chance to like conclude this.
Mhm.
Awesome. So you want to try to do some kind of wizard bullshit to invert the power so that what's powering this would be the demon itself.
Yeah.
I can actually, I was wondering, I think I can help with that because I have the clock ritual. And so if you can turn it so that it's using the demon, I can use the clock
Yeah.
spell to slow it down so that it holds it in place so it can't move as fast.
I
Or-
love this.
If you speed up time, it'll drain it faster.
Oh, yeah. If we can do that. I like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, let's see if we can combine those to do that.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I think I love this. This is fantastic. Yeah, I'm going to say you like looking at this and you think you can do that. This is going to be a risk roll.
Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
absolutely going to include a dark die because you're dealing with dark magic here.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be two. So I think this is going to be two. I think this is going to be two risk rolls. We'll have Delian. So we'll have Nevin do the ritual to invert where the energy is where the life energy is coming from, and then Delian can use her clock ritual to try to speed up time within the circle to hopefully just drain all the demon's life force away to kill it. I love this. I love
Maybe-
this.
Maybe
I
I'll,
was assuming you're going to try to. I mean, every other time I've tried to do this, people have just like used missile weapons to like, and we've just had a big fight at the end. But I love this even better.
Why fight if you can just get around it instead?
That is
Yeah.
such an OSR thing to do. I love it.
I'll go
Gonna
hook
take
up
damage.
the pig while they do it to try to distract.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
And
Get-
yeah, I'll just be an
When-
asshole to it too.
And Osto's going to be ready in case things go wrong to set off his army
Okay.
ritual and then fight the thing to keep it away from Nevin and Delian while they work to drain it.
Okay, this is awesome. So,
Nice.
so let's do the ritual of inversion first. So I think Nevin is leading this.
Okay.
So clearly what you want is to change the direction of where where this is drawing the life energy from to be internal rather than external. Cool.
Mhm.
So it's in other words, we're going to drain. You want to drain the demon to power the. You want to drain the demon to power the things that are keeping the demon imprisoned. Cool. What could possibly go wrong here? What could possibly go wrong here?
I think what could possibly go wrong is that the demon is free to leave the circle. But we are now bound, but like we are now ensnared by the binding magic, so we can't leave the room.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was going harder than that. That was going harder than what I was going to offer. I don't think I can top that.
Well, that's a pretty good one.
Sorry, everyone.
I don't
That
think I
makes
can top that.
sense.
I was
Yeah.
I was going to say that it accelerate what I was going to suggest was that it accelerates the I was going to suggest that this accelerates the amount of energy that was drawing from outside the room such that if you that it was going to like draw energy from all of you. So everyone's ruin is going to go up by 1, and is going to continue to go up by 1 for every minute you were in here. But I like your idea better. I like your idea better.
Harder,
that you just get stuck in the room. You free the demon, and now you're stuck in the room. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a ritual that does this. I can do this with skills though, right?
No, we're doing this. Yeah, we're just saying this is like general. Okay. This is your general magical knowledge.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm good. You know, you are a geomancer. I'm thinking this is probably going to be patterns.
Yeah. Patterns. I will accept a devil's bargain if you have one on offer. I'm going to take as many dice as I can get on this.
Yeah.
I don't know if this would qualify because this is about my character, not yours, but because I'm closer to the demon, you know, doing the thing with the pig, then maybe no matter what, Ifori is gonna take some ruin as he's sort of closer to the epicenter of this effect.
Well, and the demon already wants.
Yeah, the demon does already want you. I was gonna pose the devil's bargain of like, because this is a demon, you're not actually killing it. You're more like bandit. Like if you kill it on this world, it's gonna like go back to whatever nether realm it came from. It's like no matter what the spirit of this demon is going to, the spirit of the demon will haunt you.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds cool.
What that means or what that looks like, I have no idea, but I think it's cool. I am going,
right.
and since you, okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last bit.
Yeah, I think we can't hear your audio now.
Yeah, Mike, your audio cut out.
It's still out, yeah. Yeah, we still can't hear you.
This ritual has gone horribly wrong.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, this is where we all have to do interpretive dance to figure out.
Yeah.
Now, sudden game of charades.
Oh my god, that would be a fun, stupid one-shot game. GMing through charades only.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the players can talk, but the GM can only like mime stuff.
Oh, you would lose. That would go off the rails so fast.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, after I lost audio for a minute, I think I'm back. So I was saying, what I was saying before my equipment so rudely interrupted me. So yes, I think this is going to be so this is going to be a risk roll for Nevin. It's going to be 2 light, 1 dark.
All right, and away we go. All right,
Dark
6 on the dark die.
Okay, complete success. So 6 dark is a 6. It is a complete success. However, your ruin does go up. What? And I think I'm going to say that this kind of goes right in with the devil's bargain. So your ruin goes up, and I'm going to say you now have the condition of. I'm going to say that you've got the. You're going to say haunted by the demon rolling bull, and it's actually like speaking to you in your. It's like speaking to you in your mind.
Mhm.
But your inversion ritual completely works.
All right, it's worked. Now for your part. Be quick about it.
No, right.
So, And before we do that, what did conducting that ritual look like? What did it look like when you inverted this?
All right, so I think Nevin is he is kind of like on his like hands and knees, his cheek kind of pressed against the stone floor, and he is like whispering instructions to the gold ore in the runes, and sort of convincing them to rearrange themselves. He's telling them that that they have been lied to, that they are that they have been led astray from their true purpose, that they could be doing so much more, and that they're being held back from their full potential, and convince them to rearrange themselves into taking a more active role.
I love it. And you don't so much hear words, but you hear them respond, and like the viewers at home just hear this like weird rhythmic, like low bass pulsing, and we see the runes that were inscribed on the we see the runes that were inscribed in that semicircle. Several of them just subtly shift in their positions. And Rolling Bull says, "Wait, what are you doing? No, no, no." And Delian, so you are going to try to speed up time in there to make it drain away quickly. Okay, cool. So I'll ask you what this ritual looks like after we've had the roll. But so I think we know what the goal is. What could possibly go wrong here?
It could, I mean, obviously it could end up slowing time down instead of speeding it up, or it could speed up time within the whole area.
Oh, I've got one.
Okay.
It speeds up your time and you age.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You age years in just a few minutes. What that means, I don't know yet, but we'll see. Yeah.
Can I argue to have that as my devil's bargain?
Oh, yeah. That would be a cool
devil's bargain.
That would be a cool devil's bargain. No matter what you get,
Yeah.
It ages you as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely.
Nice.
And then for the what could go wrong, yeah, I guess it could speed up time. It could speed up time in the whole area, which would then mean that all of us are kind of stuck in a time bubble for a while.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, I think we have a devil's bargain. We've got so we've got one light die from that. Do any of your skills going to help you with this ritual?
Well, I was thinking either coordination or precision.
I was thinking precision, especially considering the other the other meaning of the word precess. Like a pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is pretty cool. So, and since you're using magic, you must use a dark die. So let's do another ritual of 2 light, 1 dark. Let's see what happens.
And I do this as a risk roll.
Yeah, this is a risk roll. 2 light, 1 dark. Ooh, okay. So this is going to be a failure. And I think what would happen is I think what's going to happen here is that you failed to reposition this epicenter of your you failed to position like where the like what area was going to like rapidly increase time. So I think that's going to affect you and everybody and all of your companions are going to get aged terribly, where while the demon is still just going to be there for now. You may add a dark die and re-roll.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Okay,
Is
let's do a
that
risk
an-
roll of 2-2.
Is that a second attempt or is
This
that
will be
a
yeah, this will be a new roll. So so you're going to re-roll all of the dice. So let's do a new risk roll, 2 light, 2 dark. Five dark. Okay, you cannot re-roll. You can so first of all, let's so 5 dark, that is going to be a success with a complication.
Yep.
Cool.
I think the complication is going to be I think the complication is going to be that you are now locked out of this ritual for some period of time, that you've messed with time so much that you can't use the clock ritual for a while.
Makes sense.
But it works. However, 5 is higher than your current ruin, so your ruin does increase by 1.
Okay.
And I think you're going to take the condition I think you're going to take the condition rapid aging. And I don't think it's going to take effect immediately, but you're currently aging. Your body is now currently aging a year in a week.
Gotcha. Well then.
So at that rate you'll probably be dead in a year until you can do something about it.
We
Oh,
have to go
fun.
on another quest for you.
Yeah.
However, your ritual completely works. You have inverted where it's drawing the life energy from, and you've rapidly increased the rate of time. What is this? So first of all, Risky, tell us what casting that ritual looks like, and what the effect, and what the audience sees at home.
So Delian sort of walks in a full circle around the demon and then picks her starting point, which is essentially going to be noon 12 on the clock. And she, with her spear, walks counterclockwise. Actually, no, she walks clockwise and she marks off and sort of draws her own engravings outside of the worded circle to sort of increase the flow. So as she has finished going around the outside and gets back to 12, she completes the circle, and it's almost like the ward inside gets like upshifted, where it sort of flares a little bit and starts to cycle clockwise.
I love it. So at this, the demon is raging because he knows exactly what you're trying to do. And he screams and shouts and like breaks off like pieces of stone from inside and is like throwing them at you, which you're able to deftly dodge. But as the completion of both of these rituals, you can see that it starts bellowing in pain as you can see it. It doesn't age because it's a demon and it's ageless, but because it's now leeching this thing's the life energy out of this thing, it just for one, like the color, like the bright blue color of its skin, starts to turn gray, and its body like becomes like more and more emaciated with time, until finally it like staggers to its feet. And at first it was like raging, but it can't break the seal. But then it weakens and it like falls to its knees and like falls to the floor, and its skin gets tighter and tighter and tighter on its bones as its skin turns grayer and grayer and grayer. until finally it looks up and it hisses one last time menacingly as as its glowing red eyes like wink out, and it just slumps onto the floor.
Take my spear real quick and I shove it in to like knock the skull out before the skull like disintegrates.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can cut off its head, and I mean, it doesn't. And yeah, that and yeah, the ritual ends, and the accelerated time in that area, like it returns to its normal rate of flow. The demon is dead. That was awesome.
That was fucking rad. Well done, Dalian.
Well done, you.
Oh.
Yours was the more important part. We could have just turned it inside out and left it here for a while.
Aye, and what would have happened to Afori in the meantime?
No,
We
that's
haven't.
true.
He hasn't the time to wait on that. Neither do we.
I would have grown
So-
more beautiful.
So before you killed him, the demon did tell you exactly how to access the trap door, which is located beneath the altar.
Yeah.
It's exactly where the demon said it was. You open it up, and there is and again, it's another shaft that goes down, but this time there is unlike the shaft that you entered, this one basically has like rungs of a ladder basically carved into the rock, so it's not hard to just climb down into the pit below. And that opens up into an oval-shaped chamber carved from the bedrock with a vaulted ceiling. At one end is a huge open tomb surrounded by thousands of unlit candles of blood red wax. Lying in the open tomb is the desiccated mummy of a large man with long red hair and a beard. The mummy wears a golden crown and clutches a shining bronze spear. And at this point, I'm just going to tell you, we are over time, so I'm just going to kind of hand wave. I'm just going to kind of narrate the ending, if that's okay with you folks.
Yeah.
So the mummy is just that. It's just a mummy. It's not going to animate and attack you. It's you take the crown. The crown is worth just the gold itself is worth 2 gold, but if you could find the right collector, it could fetch up to 5. And the spear is a magical weapon. It's got magical properties that are defined in terms of a trophy combat roll. We never actually got to a combat roll, so I could tell you what they were, but they wouldn't make sense because I didn't go over it. But that's fine. You've got a magic spear that is called Impaled Victory. For one, it's treated as a magic weapon, so monsters that are vulnerable to magic, it counts. And 2, when you use it in a combat roll, you get an extra light die to the combat roll.
Cool.
So if you investigate the sarcophagi that were in the chamber, they each contain the skeleton of a warrior that was buried there, and each of the remains that were in there had like various valuable reliquaries that are in each of the sarcophagus. There was burial treasure that was worth 1 gold. So that was 6 gold from that. You got another, you got more gold from the tomb. At that, so with the, so you take the skull, so you take the head of the demon, you take whatever other treasures you can find, you head back up to surface where Marble Eye is waiting for you. you were only down there a few hours. You take the pig with you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I
dinner.
can't wait to get.
Yeah, not leaving it down there. That's dinner now.
Cool. Yeah. You. So yeah. You hoist the pig back up. You all there. Marble Eye is surprised and delighted when you present him with with the head of this demon, which he gladly takes off of your hands and goes into his hut. He takes it inside the hut, and he comes back out and hands you a bag of coins. It's worth 5 gold in exchange for that. And he looks at Ifori and says, "And you, and you, come with me." He gestures you. He holds open the curtain entrance to his hut and invites you in. And there was a ritual that involves like magic, and he gives you like potions to drink, and he pours like oil on your head, and he does cure your curse as promised. And I think the stinger we're going to end on here is so that night you like Marble Eye like invites you to join him for dinner around the campfire. He's he's got like basically he's having a pig roast. But as you're sitting around the fire, Nevin, you look up from the from the glass of mead you were drinking, and you see no one else does, but you see Rolling Bull sitting among you, and he looks right at you and says "So, Nevin, I have a bargain for you." And that is when the credits roll.
Oh, that's so good.
We
I
were,
Love it.
if we were
Thank you,
dealing-
folks. This was a ball. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this game. I would love to see what happens to these characters in the future, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we come to it.
Yeah.
I think Ilfori would have gone and resurrected the mummy, and a truly bad idea.
Oh, that would have been cool.
But he wouldn't have done it with anyone watching. So
Hey, free
Got
money.
it.
yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, folks. This was a ball. I had a wonderful time. This was really,
Yeah.
really awesome. I am going to end the recording here. Thank you so much. Thank you. If anyone was watching, thank you so much. After the recording, let's hang on. I just want to have an off-camera discussion with y'all if you've got time. But end of recording. Thanks for watching. This was Trophy Gold, the Bruja, the Beast in the Barrow with Happy Jack's Game Days. Thank you, everyone.